Welcome to the Power of Transformation with Dr. BEGO, where faith meets declaration and purpose ignites breakthrough. Each episode empowers you to speak life, renew your mind, and walk boldly in who God says you are. Your transformation starts now. Well, good day, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Power of Transformation. I'm Dr. BEGO, and today we're going to be discussing the importance of financial freedom. Before we get started, I'm going to ask that you will like, share, and subscribe on all social media platforms at Dr. BEGO Transform. Be sure to visit my website, drbegotransform.com. Pick up a copy of my latest book, or go to any place where books are sold. Today, our focus is understanding the importance of financial freedom. One of the things I want to point out for us today is that you cannot achieve generational wealth without first pursuing financial freedom for yourself. In other words, you cannot build legacy if you yourself is still living in bondage. And so today we're going to talk honestly about what financial freedom really is and why it matters spiritually. Now, let me set the ground rules, because this episode is not about shame. This episode is not pointing out the mistakes that you've made financially over your life. It is not about where you are in terms of your savings or your investment. No, today we're going to be talking about strategy. We're going to be talking about awareness, and we're going to be talking about movement. Are you ready to begin? So let's first define what financial freedom really means. And I think the best way to do it is to first begin with what it is not. The financial freedom is not about being rich. Financial freedom is not about having luxury. It's not about owning everything or never having to work again. Financial freedom means being in control of your debt. It is not being ruled by financial anxiety. Financial freedom is about knowing how to have margin. I want you to remember that word, having margin. It is about being able to make financial decisions from wisdom and not pressure. That you are not enslaved to your debt, that you are not enslaved to your financial obligations, that you are not enslaved to your payments. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 7 says it this way, that the borrower is servant to the lender. So let's break that down for just a moment, because this word servant means to be bound. This word servant means to be restricted. This word servant in this text means to be limited. And so, in other words, debt is not just financial. It is not just your financial obligations, the contracts that you have signed as relates to your credit cards or your loans or your mortgage. No, financial obligations, and to understand finances also is psychological. It is what you feel. So it's emotional, it is spiritual, it is understanding and recognizing God's perfect plan for you as it relates to being a steward. So financial freedom means that you have simply room to breathe. That if every time the first of the month comes around and you feel anxiety, you can't breathe. When you have to go and check the balance of your checking account, you can't breathe. Then whenever you go into your pocket and there's no money, only but lint, guess what? You cannot breathe. So I want to ask you this reflective question for a moment. Where do you feel financially restricted right now? If you got a pen or pad, or you got your note taker up, I want you to begin to jot it down. Where in your life do you feel restricted as it relates to your finances? Is it as paying off debt? Is it giving to social causes? Where do you feel restricted? Is it when you go to the grocery store? Is it when you get ready to pay your bills? You see, there is a hidden cost of being in what is known financial bondage. And so I want to take a moment to talk about what debt and financial instability really cost you. Because it is more than the late fee. It is more than your credit being impacted. No, there is a real cost to financial bondage, and it shows up in peace. That you do not have this sense of peace and security in your life because you're always worried about your financial obligations. It shows up in your sleep. And so you have restless nights because you don't know whether or not you're going to wake up to your utilities being cut off. It shows up in your view of confidence, how you show up to your job or in your community or in your faith-based institutions, that you feel that everyone can see you and see the mounting debt that is in your life. It shows up in generosity because you want to give, you want to serve, you want to do more, but yet you're counting more what you don't have. And it shows up in opportunity. It shows up in hindsight 2020, that you wish you had some financial resources back then that you could have invested or that you could have saved, and you feel as though that you have missed the opportunities. So when you are bound financially, your dreams get delayed. When you are bound financially, you avoid investment opportunities. When you are bound financially, you hesitate to give and you become reactive as opposed to being strategic. So financial stress can also impact your marriage. That the majority of divorces that happen in the United States are not centered around infidelity. They're not around communication issues. That the primary driver of divorces in America are centered around finances. So it impacts your marriage. It impacts your mental health. It impacts your parenting. It impacts your ministry. It even impacts how you show up in leadership. Because you cannot lead confidently if you are not constantly dealing with the anxiety that shows up as it relates to your bills. And so financial stress, it has a way of stilling you emotionally. That you feel as though you do not have the capacity, that you do not have the confidence, that you do not have the spiritual wherewithal or the emotional stability to show up financially. And so financial freedom is a spiritual issue. I want us to take a moment to go deeper, because here's the thing about money. Money reveals your discipline. The amount of money that you currently possess is evident by your discipline to save. It reveals your priorities. Is it what you need versus what you want? It reveals your level of self-control. Can you delay gratification? Or are you always spending? Are you always thinking emotionally about what it is and what you can have and can you get it right now? So financial freedom is not just about math. It's not about taking this amount and saving it every week that you get paid. Financial freedom is about your level of maturity. So when scripture speaks about stewardship, it is speaking about being responsible. When it speaks about stewardship, it is speaking about integrity. It is speaking about planning, and most importantly, about accountability. That where you are financially is a result of your own doing. It is taking accountability for where you are and deciding whether or not you're going to stay or whether or not you're going to move forward. So financial freedom is also about becoming trustworthy. It's not about having the flashy car or the designer clothes. It is not about how you can impress the people who are around you. It is simply about being trustworthy. Can you be trusted with your finances, not just for your sake, but for your family's sake, for your marital sake, for your emotional sake, and yes, for your spiritual sake? Because I believe that we are all entrusted to be stewards. That God has given each of us a measure, and that measure is to determine and to decide if we're able to manage it. So the path forward, the path towards financial freedom is very clear. It's practical. I mean, it's not rocket science. It's not something that you need to go off and study abroad. Financial freedom just simply, it doesn't happen overnight. But can I tell you something? It does happen with intentionality. So I want to give you some steps of how to move towards financial freedom. Number one is awareness. You got to know your numbers. You got to know how much you make, how much you pay in taxes, how much you pay in Social Security. You got to know your income level for the job that you have and the job that you want. You need to know your expenses, what you are spending at the grocery store or what you are spending at the gas station. You got to know your debt. You got to be able to recognize how much you are in debt. Because here's the thing, clarity removes the fear. But if you know where you are as it relates to your finances, as it relates to your income, as it relates to your debt, guess what? It no longer controls you. You control it. Number two, you have to eliminate your high interest debt. There's a basic principle of how you have to attack your most expensive debt first. Now, what do I mean by your most expensive debt? Your most expensive debt is not the debt that is the highest, the greatest, the largest. No, your most expensive debt is the one with the highest interest rate. So you create this snowball of avalanche method that you look at your debt and you say, this one right here has the greatest or the largest interest rate attached to it. So I'm going to take all of my finances that I have at my disposal and I'm going to pay it off. And when that's paid off, then you roll it over to the next. And once that's paid off, then you roll it over to the next. That's how you create discipline. So number one is awareness. Number two is to eliminate high interest debt. Number three is to build an emergency fund. Listen, I cannot stress the importance of what it means to have cash in reserve. Anything can happen at any moment. So every time you get paid, you ought to take a portion of it and put it in a savings account. You need to work to have a minimum of 3 months of your income in savings. You need to work to have 3 months of your income in savings. Let me say it for the third time. You need to develop a plan, a strategy where you are saving until you reach at least a minimum of 3 months of your income in savings. You say, well, how do I get there? You get there one paycheck at a time. You get there by one bonus at a time. You get there by one part-time job at a time. You start small, but you stay consistent and you do not touch it. You let it grow, you let it build, and that becomes your safety net. Number 4, control your lifestyle creeps. What does that mean? The income increases, expenses can increase, but legacy disappears. So let me break that down. That just because your income increases, does that mean that your expenses ought to increase with it as well? So every time you get a raise on your job, or you get a bonus, or you make some extra money, don't take that money and spend it. Take that money and save it. Let's go back to the top. Number 1, awareness. Know what your income and know what your debt is. Number 2, eliminate high interest debt using the snowball effect. Number 3, build an emergency fund. Number 4, control your lifestyle creeps. And number 5, create an income growth strategy. Now, those of you who are able to consult with a financial advisor, if you don't, there are plenty of different workshops and programs that you can sign up for at local organizations and even online. But you have to begin to increase your skill set. You have to be able to increase your earning capacity. You have to begin to invest in education. You have to begin to seek opportunity. If you no longer want to be where you are at the current financial level, then you have to make an investment into yourself. Because freedom is not built. Freedom is not wished for. Freedom is destiny. And so with these 5 steps, you need to begin today. Don't wait until next month. Don't wait until next year. Don't wait until the next job opportunity. No, you can begin today. I want to ground this as we come to a close in a declaration. Because remember, declarations are our attempt to speak a truth where it does not currently exist. It is to speak a reality where we're being lied to. It is to manifest what we want to happen in our lives until we see it. So I want you to repeat after me. I declare that I'm moving towards financial freedom. I break cycles of debt. I break cycles of impulse. I break cycles of fear. I am discipline. I am clarity. I am stability. I build margins. I build strategy. And I build wealth. I am not controlled by my payments. I am guided by my purpose. God gives me wisdom to steward. God gives me wisdom to walk in freedom. Now, all of that means this. Are you ready? I declare I am not bound. I am building freedom. Let that settle in for a moment. I declare that I'm not bound, that I am building freedom. You see, financial freedom is not about pride. It is not about showboating. It is not about arrogance. No, financial freedom is about peace. It's about stability. It is about the margin. It is about your ability to say yes when God opens doors. It is about living a life free of panic. It is about being free at this present moment. And guess what? You can start it today, because freedom is not a destination. Freedom is a direction. You spend the rest of your life living in the purpose of financial freedom. And every disciplined decision moves you closer. Every penny that you pick up, every dime that you save, every quarter that you invest, every dollar that you do not spend brings you closer to financial freedom. And guess what? When you're free, your marriage will be free. When you're free, your home will be free. When you're free, your children will be free. When you are free, your children's children will be free. Until next time, may God bless you. May the Lord keep you. And may heaven continue to smile upon you. Peace. Thank you for tuning in to the Power of Transformation. If today's episode blessed you, share it with someone you love. Don't forget to subscribe and stay connected for more tools to declare, believe, and become. Until next time, keep speaking life.